Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Welcome to How to Act for Elden, your field guide to all things Dragon Age. I am one of your hosts, Will. Today my Dragon Age is 94. Anne, hello.
Ooh, I'm Anne, and my Dragon Age is that's my age.
Nice,
Giancarlo.
Hi, I'm Giancarlo. I'm the other one, and today my Dragon Age is a sprightly 74.
All right.
Oh.
All right. I just want to talk about this quest.
You can't.
I can't. Okay.
We must wait our turn.
I'm going to be so brave, so strong. Let's talk about Dragon Age news. There have been a few things. First thing I want to talk about, this is a sad one. Voice actor Peter Renaday passed away between our last recording and this recording. He was the voice of Duncan, specifically in Origins. Big presence there. He was also Splinter on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he was a ton of like Disney bit characters. He voiced the Abraham Lincoln animatronic in Disney World, who gives the Gettysburg Address. He was He was a really prolific voice actor who had a few big roles, but mostly he just like was everywhere in ensembles. So respects to him and his family. Thank you, Peter Renaday, for your work. Moving on from that to some other Dragon Age things. We got some news about how long it's going to take to finish Veilguard to beat the game. And BioWare gives an estimate of like a 40-hour minimum, between 40 and 100 hours, depending on how completionist you want to be. This isn't like a surprise to me. This sounds like the most normal number to complete a game like this. Am I wrong here? Like, this just sounds like obvious to me.
I'm looking at this estimate, and my first instinct is, all right, so it'll take me 150 hours.
Yeah. The thing with these estimates is that, like, how thorough are they assuming that you're going to play? Which, I mean, 40 to 100 is a huge range.
Yes.
But I find that, like, because I also like to go into every nook and cranny. So, like, you can usually add a solid 25 to 50% on top of that sometimes.
That's
and
so
it's
funny.
like,
and I'm over here like, they can have 60 of my hours.
I'm just imagining, like, how many times is this dragon going to kill me, and I'm going to have to do this quest 5 times in a row.
Right, yeah, that's the other one. It's like, am I any good?
Right, am I good at bad at game? But we've got some other news here to talk about as well. So reporting from VG247, I guess VG Video Game 24/7.
Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Oisin Kunke writes that, or reports on Dragon Age Veilguard is purportedly entirely finished in the game. The story is all in the main game. Now, the reason that sounds like an insane thing that I would have to specify. However, both Dragon Age 2 and even more so Dragon Age Inquisition, the stories conclude in DLC.
Yep.
Which should be fucking illegal. That's like, I haven't even played that DLC in Dragon Age 2. I never got to it. I didn't have it at the time. I have heard that it's not even very good. But it does establish the entire conflict for Inquisition. So that's unreasonable. And in Inquisition, the Trespasser DLC is literally the entire end of the game. It's not like auxiliary setting up something for the next game. It's the end of the it's the end of the game.
It's the end of the game, and it does very explicitly set up Veilguard. Like, it very much is necessary for understanding Veilguard. It's funny. My
deeply.
brother texted me this week, and he's like, "So I hear Veilguard builds on DLC for Inquisition that I didn't play, just like in Dragon Age 2." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry. I realize you don't listen to How to Act for Elden, and if you did, you would know that."
Yes.
So,
Well, this is such a like design of the times like trend because
Right.
DLC like started happening and people were like, hey, this is cool. We can do some little like fun expansions. And then it became this awful, terrible way of just selling people the game in parts. And I'm just thankful that there was no Dragon Age released during like when microtransactions were the hottest thing.
Yeah, same. You know they would have run wild with that shit.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would love to see what their version of horse armor would have been.
Yeah.
It wouldn't do anything. It would just be aesthetic.
So
it would be
you
an
say
emote
that,
for the party.
but there actually is, in some of the DLC in Inquisition that was released, there are special horses that you get as an addition.
Will, I have all the DLC because I needed all
I
the
do too
special
for
horses.
Inquisition, obviously.
Yeah, I needed all the special horses. It was important.
Did
I
also
pick
get
the one
special
horse
armor?
I like and always use forever and never change it? Yes.
Is it the Hala?
No, it's not the
Oh.
Hala. I don't remember which one it is, but I know it's not the Hala. So,
Okay. So
I picked probably the biggest horse.
okay, that's fair. Yes.
Yeah.
So no story is going to live in DLC. That's wonderful. And
I
then,
don't believe them.
I don't either. And then
But will story live in the game?
Also debatable.
we'll see. Another revelation has been, so Dragon Age Keep doesn't exist anymore. And we are hearing that, like, there is a good chance that a lot of your decisions in the previous games are just, like, not going to carry over to Veilguard at all.
I mean, who plays this game for the decisions? Like...
But they're also, that's the thing, is they're also trying to emphasize, like, it's going to be super decision heavy. It's going to be really decision important. Your decisions are really going to matter. And it's like, henceforth, I guess. Like, no, that's not like super confirmed. Like, that could still change. We don't know. But it does seem like a red flag. And like, whatever, I guess. And then
it seems like it's very on brand though for things we've definitely talked about before in the podcast, like how they have their canon world state and they just ignore decisions. Like Leliana is the big one. You know, the books being their canon world state and having decisions that clearly couldn't happen based on things you do in the game. So I can see why they're doing this. It is annoying as hell though.
It's really annoying.
I get it. It's tough, but also like that's the whole gig with this game.
Literally, like maybe just make a different game.
Yeah.
Like maybe
or
make
like
a
do some
game.
weird like time jump, show us somewhere else. Like if it's really that kind of thing, like you know. But I don't know. We'll see. We're like complaining about stuff that we don't know about yet.
Do a prequel game so that it doesn't matter. Like
right. But that also leads me to another article that I really liked. This is by Luke Plunkett over at Aftermath. And for those who don't know, Aftermath is an independent collective of journalists who are all veterans of Kotaku, who have come together post Kotaku to make their own blog. It's very good.
Sorry, I just read the title of this article.
Yes. The title for this article is Video Game Previews Are Not Great. And the subhead is Nobody Needs to Know Any of This Ahead of Release. This is a really good article. Luke Plunkett was one of the people who suggested while working at Kotaku that they stop writing about video game previews. Reason being, and this was like back in 2013 is when Kotaku was first writing about it. Kotaku's article on not stopping previews was published by Stephen Totilo on February 18th, 2013. And that was largely a response to the 2011 preview of BioShock Infinite, which were either of you plugged in to that preview for BioShock Infinite at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was plugged into the BioShock Infinite release, but I can't quite remember the preview times.
Okay. So I loved the first 2 BioShock games. I'm a little bit more hot and cold about them now looking back.
Same.
I was firmly in the belief that politically we were on the same page, me in those games. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, did they not know what they were doing? So all of that is to say, when BioShock Infinite was coming out, I was heavy in my steampunk days. I was so excited for this. And we had waited for so long for Infinite. And then they released this preview and it looked so fucking cool. It opened on this city that had clearly once been beautiful, but was now in complete disarray. Things were on fire. Everything was dark. It was raining. There was this really cool villain who could control all of these crows. It looked incredible. Fast forward to when the game actually came out, and it is 0% of what was in that preview was in the actual game. There was a guy who controlled crows, completely different guy, completely different setting, completely different even iteration of that power, because it was bullshit. Because game previews are snippets of games that exist only to be advertisement. All they have to make is that amount of game look good. And that is typically what they are. So we did have more previews of Veilguard coming out. We've had previews. We've had X number of hours in the game released. And this article published just a few days ago was just reminding everybody, and it specifically cited Veilguard of hey, stop falling for this. Previews are bullshit.
I mean, yeah, that's 100% because I feel especially with a couple of releases in the recent years, because it seems to me, and maybe I'm just not as plugged into the space, but previews have not been as prevalent lately, I don't feel.
I agree. But this feels like something that was much more of the 2010s.
Yeah. But lately we've seen a few, and I will see all over my my recommended YouTube videos or something before Star Wars Outlaws comes out or something like that. It'll be all these videos I tried it and it's amazing. And then the same people upon release will be yeah, it's fine, which I feel that is by design, but yeah, it's...
Okay, can we be done with the news so I can talk about this quest?
Yeah, please.
Let's talk about the hero of Hug House.
Hug Hawk.
The Hug Hawk. The Hug Hawk, yes.
The Hug Hawk.
Okay. So when last we talked, we said, you play this quest, and when you're done, then we'll record.
Yeah.
The quest has a name. I already don't remember what it is.
All that remains.
All that remains. That's great. But I think that what we all know it as for real, having played it, spoilers if you haven't played this game, but why are you listening to this? If that would be very confusing. Don't do that. It's the dead mom quest.
Mm-hmm, and it's funny because we told Giancarlo stop after this quest, and he goes,
That's right.
Oh, what, does your mom die or something? Yeah. And Will and I
I'm sure you can hear it in the last episode. You can hear the moment.
Well, yeah, it got eerily quiet, and I tried to throw it from my mind.
So, just tell us.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to make you wait because it's the last quest I played.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. That's fair.
So I'm so sorry. We don't get to talk about it just yet. Because a couple of stuff happened. So this was a very big, because the Act 1 ended, a lot of, companion quests opened up. So, I got to do a lot of companion stuff before this quest opened for me. I'll try and breeze through it. I have not read over my notes since, so we'll see what kind of fever dream I was in. Because for context, when I'm playing, I have to desperately grab for my phone with one hand while I'm holding my Steam Deck in the other and make a shorthand note. So these are sometimes deranged. Anyways, so I go to get Fainril out of the Fade, who's the guy we help in Act 1. We help him escape. We get the wonderful line from Isabella, which I have since learned is a staple. I like big boats. I cannot lie.
Yeah. I hate these moments. They do not work for me.
It's bad, but
thank you.
I like it.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't. I think I am in the minority here. Most people love these things very much. Not I, but I sure do love Isabella regardless.
it's like I dislike it so much that I like that it exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like, wow, this like made it all the way through. I love that.
They really made a conscious choice to put that in the game, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Isabella and Meryl were not good choices. I had to kill them both in the Fade because they succumbed to.
What? Say more.
Okay, like not actually kill them, but like when you go into the Fade, you have to try and like persuade them to not take the demon's deal. Both of them took the demon's deal. I guess I didn't say the right things.
Got it. I really thought that you had to like all the way kill them both because the game would pull that shit. Okay.
No, thankfully not. After that, I then went to speak to Anders, and I made sure not to advance it because the game gave me plenty of opportunities. And then from there I was like, okay, like who's left that is like interesting to me? I'm so sorry. I don't think I can go like anti-mage. It doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. And so I was like, it's probably gonna be like Isabella or Meryl. And then we did some more like quests for them, but I was like, Meryl feels very like childlike in a way that like makes me a little uncomfy. So
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe Isabella. We go back to the Deep Roads because some dwarves went and got lost in there. I have a big bold that says "fuck Iwan" because he got his brother killed. Hate that. And then. The first kisses of what is to come, I just have, serial killer mystery is interesting. That's all. So like, we do a little side quest, some of the guard. So yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, we go on this little quest. They're like, there's a serial killer. If you find anything, let me know. And I go, okay, great. And then I start to get this bad feeling. Then I have in all caps, fuck Bartrand. I get to shoot at him as Varric, which was a lot of fun, and then I found out that it was not what really happened.
Of course.
Which I just gotta say, I actually love like this framing for the game where Varric is telling the story.
I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah, it rips, and I love that like he does embellish and then he then gets called out and you have to redo the section as it actually happened.
Yes, I thought that was so great. Good.
And then I put, no way you'll make me feel bad for Bartrand. Maybe for Varric, but nah, he seems fine. And then I have in all caps, you're gonna make me be nice for Varric's sake. Because you basically have the option to tell him what to do, whether to kill him or not. And then my next note is, so I clicked the wrong button and killed him anyways, but also I needed to do that for Bethany, so.
Good.
So he's dead. Fate did not want me to spare him, and I'm pleased about this. Oh, right. Then we have this cutscene where, like, so the romance advances with Isabella.
Okay.
And so, like, that's happening now. And then Isabella's like, you don't think we're dating, do you? Like,
yep.
And it's like, I think you like me. And she's like, all right, peace out. Which I love. You know what? Typical. Yeah. Great. I love it. I guess my Dragon Age characters have a type.
I can't wait to see who you romance in Inquisition, because there's a chance that this could get really funny.
Oh man, I sure hope it does. I really love all of the romances in 2
because none of them go well.
Great.
Like, but I genuinely, I think that it's actually really well written because you're with this team of people who are all like deeply broken. Yeah.
Yeah. That is what makes this game like my favorite. Like, we're like, all so broken.
It's so real. Like, I love that she's like, feelings and commitment, bye. Like, I think it's just, it works. I think it works really well.
It fits that, like, and also so far the quest of the game, it's not like, there's not some big overarching goal just yet. It's kind of like, hey, shit kind of sucks here, and you just want to do the best you can. You can help people or not, but like, go get that bag, I guess. Yeah. That's the plot. Like, yeah. But, oh, right. Then she also drops this this little nugget, which I love, which is that Zevran killed her husband. Which I adore. Fantastic. Yes. And then I have Mom approves, so that's nice. Because she makes a little comment about Isabella on the way out, and I'm like, oh, how wonderful. Love my mom. All I have left in this world. Then my Bone Pit business partner comes back, and for a second I was like, who the fuck are you?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I just, the nice thing about this quest line, which is very short, is I just have, there are enough shady characters in this game that I can really bring myself to be an ass when I want to.
Yes, that is
so
correct.
That's nice. Yeah. And then we get further weird Isabella behavior, which is I go to talk to the Airshok and she dips.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep.
And I was like, hey, what's this about? Maybe I need to do other. So I went and did other quests. I got like different party members, and we came back, and I'm like, oh no, she dips no matter what. This is gonna be a thing. The Airshok is Angie and stuck in Kirkwall.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Okay, cool. So like, I'm interested in this storyline.
Okay.
Love it. And I also have a note, just something I appreciate about this game that like, I feel like a lot of the Dragon Age quests, for as much as I don't love the like dungeon design with a million of the same spider coming at you, I feel like the narratives have a really nice structure to how they unfold the mysteries over time.
I agree. Yeah. I really like the structure for these quests and these stories a lot.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, I liked it in the first game, but this one really cemented. I'm like, this works for a game. I really like this. I like, you know, it presents everything pretty simple, and not that anything's ever super complex, but they always manage to give you that little extra like twist, either something that changes it or like it resolves in like a nice way. I really appreciate that about this game.
Yeah, the game design of this game like isn't as in-depth as the other Dragon Age games, but the story is really there.
Yeah. It kind of gives me like, I get similar vibes to like how much I enjoyed just doing like random side quests in The Witcher at times, where it's just like, oh yeah, they at least put a little bit of a story into most of these. So that's nice.
Yeah, I just love like how cohesive this game is. Everything feels very much of the same world, and I like that world is like pulpy fantasy noir, and that like we do have these like really fucked up characters who all kind of fit into archetypes but kind of don't, and are complicated in interesting ways. We have a lot of mysteries that you get to solve and like work your way through. I like that there's these time skips. I like how things develop. Like it really all feels like one very well considered full piece, and it isn't as wide as the other games, but I do think it goes a lot deeper, and I really appreciate that approach.
I thought you were going to say it feels like it's one whole piece, and it isn't, because the game ending is in DLC.
That's also true.
But so after that, we then head over to do some stuff with Anders. Anders has this like conspiracy theory going on, and I was like, I don't know that he's fully clear-headed, but also I'm with him because gotta liberate the mages.
What's his conspiracy theory here?
Well, basically, as we start looking more into it, we start hearing about the tranquil solution. And I was like, wow, did you really just do the final solution? But for me, but like, I don't know, because like the game kind of makes you believe that he's a little nuts, but I don't know. It seems pretty real. And then he kind of loses his shit a little bit when Justice comes out, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should not indulge him as much as I am. Regardless, I'm with him. Mage rights, mage wrongs. And then we run over to Aveline. It's a whole mission about her trying to flirt.
Yes! I love this quest. Did you love it, or was this unbearable for you?
Okay, so I loved it, and I thought it was hilarious, but also, it was so fun. Like, so we go into the office, because she calls us in, she's like, hey, I need your help with something really serious. And Isabella, who was in my party, says something snarky, and Aveline goes, I will break you, whore.
Jeez, Aver?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. I got you. I'll set this up. So you set up the date. The guy comes into the office to talk to her. She completely chickens out. I feel bad for her. I get it. She lost someone.
Yeah.
Girly threw herself into her work. Like, I understand. But then also, like, as you go down this, like, basically, like, Cyrano de Bergerac-ass quest.
Yes.
Where you're like,
straight
I'm
up.
literally slaughtering hordes of Kunari on this island so that she has the perfect little date set up. And then she keeps chickening out, and I'm like, okay, I want to call her out, but these dialogue options are so harsh. There's no, like, playful middle ground. But it ends up working out in the end. I actually thought it was cute. It was fun. I liked it.
I love this quest. They did not need to make this.
No, it was completely gratuitous just for us.
And it's so good and it's so funny. And it just adds so much to Hawk. It adds so much to Aveline, and it adds so much to everybody who's with you. Like,
hell yeah.
I love it. This is like, this quest and a few others in this game are like peak Dragon Age 2 to me. This is what this game is about for me.
It's like perfect use of, like, quote unquote, like, downtime.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Honestly, I really liked it. Aveline has not really joined my party in quite a while, but I do like the character interactions we have when I have a quest with her. She's pretty, like, compelling for the most part. And then, she's a cop. That's all. And then Meryl has a quest because she's trying to put together this mirror again. And then I felt like such a dumbass because I was like, oh my God, this is the one from Origins. And she's talking about Tamlin, the guy who dies, because I did the Elvish origin first before we, like, swapped and, like, started over.
Right.
But I remember all of this, and I was like, oh my God, how did I not recognize Keeper Marathar is the same? Like, I was like, Meryl was in Origins. She was the one. Like, so that was cool. That was a nice little I'm stupid, like, it's all clicking moment. I very much enjoyed that.
I mean, they do look dramatically different than they did in the first game, so, like, I'm not gonna fault you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I advise her against following this. She gets very upset, but at the end of the day, I was like, hey, it's your choice. And then she was kind of cool with me after that.
Legit.
Yeah, Meryl, I mean, I want to see where this story goes, but, like, I feel like they have a big opportunity to do some compelling stuff with her. I don't know if we'll get there in the end. I don't know what's coming, but I'm very interested to see where it's going.
Totally.
We get a fun quest with Fenris where I get to kill a ton of slavers.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, love that. And then we get to see a little bit more of his backstory, find some more information on who he's after, or well, who's after him, I guess.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. And but then when I have him in the party, I'm like, ooh, I don't like the things you're saying.
I know.
No, he says
I like
some bad things about mages,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to like romance him and then just like keep him at home. And be like
That's my home husband.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't take him out. Yeah, and then we save some kidnapped Kunari. I have Patrice is fishy written down here. And yeah, it just seems, as we get deeper into the whole stuff with the Kunari and the Chantry and everything in Kirkwall, I'm like, it really feels like there are no good options. But I will cut down the Chantry every chance I get.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the very next note I have after that is just all caps. Of course my mom, it's my mom, she's gonna die, it's all over, evil hawk incoming.
Oh god.
In which my mother, and I remember the one that triggered it, I was like, oh man, because my mom talked to me and she was like, hey, what do you think if I start dating again? And I was like, Mom, I want you to be happy. And she was like, no one's ever going to replace your dad. And I'm like, I don't care. I
didn't meet him in game. He means nothing to me.
Yeah. Go get some, Mom. Have fun.
Yeah.
Live your best life.
This is dirty, kinky Kirkwall.
Yeah. 2/3 of your children are dead. You deserve a little happiness.
Your brother sucks. He gambled away the mansion.
You deserve a little happiness.
And so, instead of happiness, we get just the most devistating storyline.
Yeah.
That could have
so fucked up.
So she gets kidnapped by the serial killer. And I'm like, okay, let's investigate. I don't feel good about this.
No.
We go, we investigate, we finally make it into the killer's lair, and it's not just that your mom is dead.
No.
It's that she has been put onto a homunculus zombie because her face looked like the killer's dead ex-wife, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And so she comes at you as a zombie, classic gray eyes and the stitch lines around her throat. It's pretty devastating.
It's gruesome.
It's very it's awful. And thankfully, I think something I like is that I'm not going to say they're delicate with it because they're not.
They're not.
But they are the game mourns with you a little bit, and they give her she gets her last little moment of full lucidity and saying goodbye before she dies. That it was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Awful. It's awful. This quest to me is the exact opposite or inverse of the Aveline quest, where I'm this is peak DA2 in the bad way. This is so gratuitous. This is so unnecessary. They did not need to make this. It adds nothing to the rest of the game. Why did they do this?
I don't know. I'm the game wants me to be evil, and I think I might want to take the bait. Here's because I finished it and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna be mean hog. My sister and my mom died.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
And your brother at some point.
And my brother, right. And I guess my dad.
Oh yeah,
at some
and your
point.
dad.
And your dad. Oh yeah.
It's just me and my shitty
gratuitous.
uncle.
Yeah,
it's
at least
so gratuitous.
Which also,
you still
your
have
uncle
Gamblin.
blames you as soon as you get home, which is rough.
He's so mean.
He's awful.
That being said, I'm okay, my uncle just yelled at me because I wanted my mom to be happy and she died.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be mean. And then Isabella comes to visit and is like, are you okay? Are you? And I'm like, oh, I hate this. The game plays me like a fiddle.
Yeah.
And then Varric goes out of his way to warn me about her. He's like, hey, I see you're getting pretty close. I fear for you. And I'm like, yeah, I can handle myself, Barrick. Don't worry. I'm going to be good. I'm sure nothing terrible is going to come of this.
Oh, God.
But then also, you get this nice moment with Aveline, because Aveline has a quest where she gives you her condolences.
Right.
And she tells this like really like beautiful story about her and her father and how he used to like read the book and turn the pages. And then how like in his final days, like she would read the book to him, turning and take his hand to turn the pages.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this is my favorite moment I've had with her.
Aww.
And I don't know, like it's a lot and it's terrible. And like, is it necessary? No, but like, I kind of like that this was here. Like,
okay.
I don't know. I like the interactions that have been born from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there maybe a different way that you could have achieved this? Maybe, but also that like the visceral shock of seeing my zombie mom is like, for me in like fantasy adventure games, like that is the kind of thing that sometimes like really like motivates you into action. Like that's when I'm like, let me roll initiative. Let me roll initiative. And I did, it did elicit that from me. More so, I mean, not more so than the dread. The dread was definitely there, but I was like, let me distract myself by how much I want to kill this guy. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I like this this was a great like chunk of gameplay for me. I really liked it.
I'm so happy for you. I feel like you're like really in the game proper at this point. Like,
yes, I am.
You know, like you do this and you have arrived. Like you get what this game is doing.
Well, like now you're invested in the character. Like you've gotten to know your companions more, so now you're invested in their stories.
Yeah.
And it's like now you feel that camaraderie between your companions and your Hawk, and like
I can't wait for the inevitable tragedy that is going to befall my Hawk. Because I know there is no good ending here.
Yeah, Hawk is
cursed?
Yeah, pretty much. Like Hawk has maybe the most hilariously bad luck of like any video game protagonist ever.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I mean the Inquisitor has some pretty bad luck, but
doesn't even compare. It's not even close.
Doesn't even compare.
Well, let's take a quick break before we jump into our conversation topic, which is going to be about lyrium. Woo!
Why did we do the exact same ooh?
I don't know. Something wrong with us. This is how you can tell we've been making this podcast for like 15 years.
Yeah.
On March 27th, 2024, Elon Musk was deposed in a libel lawsuit filed by Ben Brody. Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, tried to retroactively mark the deposition as confidential, but it wasn't.
Of course I can ask him, do you think you committed actual malice? Do you think you were reckless? Of course I can ask those questions.
The deposition is a new Hug House podcast reenactment of the entire deposition, word by word, in full, taken very seriously.
Things that he did wrong.
But that's the point. That's not what you're allowed
Until he really just like can't anymore?
Not what you're allowed to do in the deposition. You can't just get him talking.
The deposition drops on the 4th of July, 2024, with 4 weekly episodes. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice or find us at hughouse.productions today. Okay, so today our discussion topic is going to be all about lyrium, and I have a very love-hate relationship with the writing of lyrium. I think that some of it is so cool, and I think that some of it is so obviously just sort of MacGuffin, you know? But one thing I want to talk about before we get into the meat of like what lyrium is and how it works is that everything I'm about to say about lyrium was planned to be in Dragon Age Origins. They just couldn't figure out how to pull it off. Mainly, we learned in these games that lyrium is extremely addictive. And they really wanted to implement that in Origins. And then they realized that it would just be like mechanically so exhausting if you had a character who was addicted to lyrium. And basically like 90% of characters can get addicted to lyrium if they're around lyrium at all.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, that just sounds like it would be really annoying to have to handle in game.
They're right. It would be really annoying. But then why not
have you ever
scrap that
played
lore?
games where you have to like drink constantly?
Yes,
It's
yes.
awful.
Mhm.
It's
Yes,
just
it is.
terrible. I don't drink enough water in my real life.
Like, does anyone else in all of their like tabletop games like just scrap rations
100%.
and needing to eat?
I think I would leave
Yeah.
the table if you made me care for like my rations. Like
Okay.
Totally.
All right. Yeah, like I don't want to remember that.
Lyrium, what the fuck is it? And that's a great question. So it's kind of a rock, and it's also kind of a metal. They call it a metal in game, but every time you see it, it is absolutely a rock. Like I don't know why. It's a mineral. We don't have to say it's a metal. It's a rock.
Metal is rock.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like you refine it into something we can use, but it does come from like a rock. Like
okay, but it doesn't look like a glowing rock-ass rock.
A glowing rock-ass rock. Can we please make like merch, like a t-shirt that says glowing rock-ass rock?
Well, henceforth in this, I am going to be calling it a rock because I believe that that is what it is. And I understand that a metal can be a rock at one point. However, I think that they just named this wrong. So it's a rock. And lyrium has a ton of very strange properties that are not well understood. The process of refining it is also not well understood at all. And all of this is by design, not just like for storytelling purposes. In game, in universe, it is by design. So lyrium is a rock, and it exists underground, and you can find it in like mineral veins. Where it exists in our world, or like in Thetis, in like the material plane, I suppose, it also exists in the Fade. It is connected in the mortal world, the material world, and the Fade, which I think is so fucking cool. Like, I think it's so cool that if you go to the Fade and you mine some lyrium and you come back to the material world, that lyrium has been mined. It's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that I think is sick.
I love good like just weird fantasy shit where it's like you're not in the world anymore, but you are.
Yes, yes.
Those nice in-betweens. I feel like,
And I love all of the, like, I think that in a lot of games, something like the Fade could be seen as like just like a realm of the dreaming, or, you know, some kind of like loosey-goosey bullshit that like some people don't even believe in. I love that it is like a real thing that everyone is aware of that exists. It's not like heaven or purgatory. It's like, it's a real fucking thing, and lyrium connects them. And I think that's very, very, very cool. Because of this connection, there are some different thoughts on like what lyrium is, by which I mean the Chantry thinks that it is what powers all creation. They call it the waters of the Fade, and they think that it is like what the maker used to make everything. The dwarves, meanwhile, are like, that is a mineral.
That is a rock.
Right. That is straight up a rock.
You are praying to a stone.
Yeah, I do kind of love that the Chantry is more or less a white girl who buys like $300 worth of rose quartz.
Yes.
Like, I'm a little obsessed with that. So the reason that it is so little is known about it is because the only people who can mine it are the the minor class of dwarves. Because lyrium is super potent. Because it connects the material plane and the fade, it gives you these powers. It enhances your magic. It does some other things that we'll get to in a bit. But it is extremely volatile and extremely hard to mine. It will just like explode randomly.
Sure.
And have like super catastrophic effects. If it is touched by most people, it has like if you touch just straight up lyrium or unrefined lyrium, it can produce nausea, blistering of the skin, and dementia. Mages can't even approach unprocessed lyrium. They will die. It will just kill them. Like on the spot.
So it's just the oh my god, what is it? The devil's the nuclear tests.
Oh my god. Yes.
Where your screwdriver slips and you're all toast.
Yes. Exactly. Just send your mage out like a canary. Oh no, Jowen fell down. Oh, he stopped moving. Guys, we gotta turn back.
Oh no. Poor Anders.
The reason that dwarves of specific mining castes can mine lyrium somewhat safely is because they basically have like exposure therapy to it. They've built up an immunity to what lyrium can do because they live underground. They live their entire lives around these mineral veins of lyrium. And in fact, if a dwarf becomes a surface dwarf, even after having lived somewhere like Orzammar, they do slowly lose their invulnerability to lyrium. And even then, they're not like fully invulnerable. They will still get fucked up. It's just like less intense. And because they are the only ones who can mine it, like biologically, they are also extremely protective of everything to do with lyrium. And I think that is very funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's also fair. Like,
yeah. Like, one, don't give people information on how to do a big, dumb, stupid, dangerous thing. Don't do that. Two, lyrium is the most expensive mineral in Thedas. In Tevinter, it is more expensive than diamonds. It funds the entire economy of Orzammar.
That's wild.
Yes. Because the only...
It's nuclear mithril.
It is. And in fact, they only sell it to the government, by which I mean the Chantry. So the only people who can ever possess any lyrium that isn't black market lyrium, which is obviously an entire submarket, is the mining caste dwarves and the Chantry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
How is lyrium used once it is in the hands of the Chantry? First, it is refined. So it goes from being a glowing rock-ass rock, to a sort of liquid. It is like suspended in a liquid. The liquid is then drank, and that will give whoever drinks it like the positive effects of the lyrium and some of the side effects depending. So we've actually seen characters use lyrium and drink lyrium in this way in very like important moments in Dragon Age so far. Namely, this is the harrowing.
And that famously went very well.
Super well.
So well every time. Yeah.
It was really good. Because if you drink lyrium, you can get into the fade without being asleep and without dreaming, which is much more dangerous because then spirits can get to you, spirits/demons. And also because then you're in the fade and like you should not be in there. That is not safe. So that's how the harrowing works, is you drink lyrium and you walk into the fade with your actual body. For the dwarves, they keep almost all of the lyrium that they mine, and they use it to forge superior armor and weapons. So that's another way that lyrium bolsters their economy. Some trace amounts, I found this very funny. Some trace amounts are used in what are called glow stones. And this is basically magic light bulbs that are used almost entirely in Orlais, which is like, of course.
Of course, the rich fantasy French are using this.
Of course. And lyrium can be used in tattoos, like with Fenris.
Oh, I was like, really? They do that? And I forgot Fenris existed.
How did you forget Fenris existed?
Yeah, so this is why so the lyrium tattoos are used commonly on like slaves and bodyguards. It makes people more obedient. It also gives them a magical resistance. It gives them greater strength. It makes them harder to track, which I find really interesting. And it also does that thing where sometimes they can pass through solid objects, like how Fenris does to grab people's hearts, which rules.
And super murder them, yeah.
Super murder them. The tattooing process is extremely painful and agonizing and can result in memory loss, all of which we get a little bit of that with Fenris. The tattoos are also how tranquil are created, or it's a method. So lyrium can be used to completely sever your tie from the Fade, which is one of the ways tranquil are created.
Hate that.
Lyrium can also be used by mages to just be like a little mana potion. Like straight, like let's be real, it's a mana potion.
That's how they use it like in Origins, and you don't get any of this. They're just like, it's super addictive, but we're just going to use like a mana potion. It's fine.
It's super addictive, but your character can deal with that after the game.
Right.
That's a later problem.
So let's talk about the addictive properties, because the other main use that the Chantry has for lyrium, because they dispense lyrium to the Circle, but more importantly to the Chantry, they disperse lyrium to the Templars. And this is one of the things that I think is actually some of the best writing, like in world building ways for Dragon Age. Mm-hmm. So Templars are given lyrium like early on. And lyrium, one, gives them that magical resistance. It lets them be able to dispel things from mages. And like the whole point of a Templar, quote unquote, is to be a cop against mages, right? So having that ability to dispel is really important. But it also gives them a heightened sense of like power and confidence. And it says that it emboldens them, which is horrific. And then on top of that, only the Chantry can give you legal lyrium, and it is addictive. Which means a lot of Templars who, for instance, say you're somebody like Cullen, where you get conscripted really, really young, or you're somebody like Alistair, who gets conscripted really young because you're a fucking orphan and you have nowhere to go. They get you addicted to lyrium super early, and then you have to be a Templar forever because you are an addict. And it is a very serious addiction. If you don't have lyrium for a few days, you go into withdrawals. It can kill you. And the Chantry keeps super close monitor on this and seemingly does it very intentionally to keep people loyal to the Chantry. Because let's be real, like, we have killed mages in these games without being Templars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there are other methods. Sure, the lyrium gives you these abilities that you can dispel magic. That is super helpful, certainly. But I think that probably the Chantry could come up with some other ways of training Templars to deal with mage situations that don't make the Templars, one, emboldened and overly confident, and two, addicted to something that only you supply.
Well, I like that their entire recruitment strategy is, hey kid, do you want some drugs?
Literally, that's
it,
literally what it is. Like, and like, not to get too on my bullshit as I always do, but like, is that not what we do? Like, I know that it's not as direct. But like, is American exceptionalism and patriotism not kind of lyrium-esque? Just putting that out there. Like, is that not maybe, the way that we train soldiers with like Call of Duty and shit, and we tell them that they're the best boys in the whole world and being good soldiers? Is that not maybe kind of a little addictive to a bunch of disaffected young men? Just put that out there. Yep.
We've gone too far.
It's not good when people do this, but we need to do it to stop the people who are doing it. So you could do it if you join us.
Everybody with the fortitude, go listen to the most recent season of In the Dark. So essentially this is lyrium in a nutshell. There are other things about lyrium that will come up as you play these games. When you get to Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm not going to demand this for the other games, but you genuinely do have to play the DLC for Inquisition. Okay. There is a DLC quest. There's a whole like DLC kind of area that I really like. It is very divisive because it is extremely difficult. Really fucking difficult. But it goes into a lot more about lyrium that I find so fucking cool. Lyrium and how it works and its sort of mythos, and the more you find out about it, is like genuinely some of my favorite shit in Dragon Age. I think that it's so cool. I love the narrative that they set up with it. I really love what the story that they're telling with lyrium as a plot device, even when it is kind of a MacGuffin. I just think it's fucking sick. I like it. And it's not common for Dragon Age to make political social commentary that's good. So anybody have any questions about lyrium or anything?
Can I have some?
Don't have some. Don't.
Okay. But what if I want it?
Right. Oh, okay. Then yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah, no, of course.
I'm glad we could settle this. No, yeah, it's like it's really cool. Like, and I think we talked about this in an earlier episode with like the lyrium problem, but like, I do think having it be, like you said earlier, like a real, tangible, physical thing that can be found in the world is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I also see how that like can complicate so much of your world building. Like, there's so much thought that has to get put into this, because also like, how limited of a resource is it?
Right.
What happens when we can't find any more?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
where does it come from? Cool. Where does it go? Et cetera, Cotton Eye Joe. Right.
Additional question.
Yes.
What happens to lyrium once it's in the body? Does the body process it and then like excrete it? Can it be recycled?
No. It's digested and then it's done so. So if you ingest it and
But it's a metal, right? So like
it's a
theoretically
rock.
speaking, theoretically speaking, if we were to find like, I don't know, like a Templar who lived a really long time and drank a lot of lyrium, we could probably like use their corpse to like extract the lyrium. And I feel like this is
fucking cool.
This is an unexplored opportunity.
You're going Dragon Age lore. Mode.
Don't give them ideas.
I love that. Honestly, I think that's sick.
Now I'm curious, like if anyone else has explored that thought, because
I hope so.
I can't see like no one ever coming up with that idea before. But
gee, thanks, Aunt. No.
Sorry. These games
It's
have been
only
around for
because-
15 years.
Yeah, these games are 15 years old, and like us, everyone who has played them has been rotating these games around in their heads for 15 years.
Everyone else is also very unwell about these games.
Yeah.
So
Unwell for and because of.
yeah.
See now I want like grimdark, like far future Dragon Age, like
Yeah.
Morkborg style.
So that's lyrium.
I'm feeling a little delirium.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I did not
wait.
even. I was thinking as I was researching.
Okay.
I was thinking, like, lyrium is such a good sounding word. How did they come up with lyrium? Is that like maybe a reference to like lyrical? Because oh my God, I didn't talk about a really important thing about
it sings.
it sings. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. Lyrium sings. This is how the dwarves find it. Is the lyrium literally makes a sound like singing. The chantry thinks that it's the maker singing to you because they're stupid. Dwarves are just like, yeah, it's the stone song. This fucking rules. I think this is also really cool. Hades Town Orpheus is a dwarf. I just think that that's sick. I completely forgot about lyrium singing. So I was like, lyrics? No, it's like delirious.
Imagine you are the first dwarven miner. You dig in your little hole, and then from the stone, you just hear a hee hee.
I'm really sorry for this joke. Every dwarf is born a miner. Yeah.
Okay, if it makes you feel any
Yeah.
better, I was holding on to the delirium joke literally since we delved into the topic. And then I was like, you know what? I don't think I found a good spot to use it.
It literally did not
looking
occur
at
to me.
Will, I'm looking at your notes, and you did use the word delirium.
You
I know,
did,
like,
and
I
I
did.
thought you were going to beat me to
No.
it. And I was like, damn.
Did not
I,
even
like,
occur to me. It's literally like right in there. And no,
It's
I was
right
like
there,
lyrics,
yeah.
lyrical. Yeah, like lyrics. Okay, well, should we get to our most important segment?
Of course. Of
Okay,
course.
it is time. It is time to age that dragon. I have found us a pretty good dragon this time. So at your leisure, feel free to open the link to the dragon. As always, this will be in our show notes and on our Tumblr. Please give me that dragon age.
This is the best part of my week. Oh,
Ooh.
2 months.
2 months.
Just a baby. Like, this is a newborn.
This is a newborn. Who's going to explain what we are seeing right now?
Well, this is, I don't remember the exact name, but this is one of those like highly venomous sea slugs, right?
Yes, I also don't remember its name, but I do remember that this thing will fucking kill you.
Yes.
Do you want to know
So-
what they're called? Wait,
Mhm.
do you want to know
Yes,
called?
please.
Yeah,
They're called a blue dragon.
that's what I pulled it.
Yeah, there you go.
Or a blue
It's very
angel.
blue.
Or a sea slug kind of thing. They're
Yeah.
a type of sea slug.
Somebody describe though.
So okay. It is like, it's got nice like bodybuilder Dorito torso shape.
Yeah, it does.
And ending in a nice little like pointed tail. It is blue, but like also white, so it has this like blooming effect, and then
Mhm.
like with a darker stripe along its middle, and then it has these like symmetrical. They look like almost like bundles of feathers.
Yeah,
forming these
yeah.
little appendages, 3 on each side. It's sick, honestly. Nature is metal.
Right?
Do you know? Okay, did anyone else have those like little like rubbery animals as a kid? Like I'm
You are
imagining.
gonna have to specify.
I know. I'm trying to think of how. Okay, so like stretchy, almost like a sticky hand that you can throw on the wall.
Yeah.
As an
okay.
animal?
I had ones that were shaped like animals, and this is just like that. I actually might have some. I have to find them, and I'll send you a picture so you know what I'm talking about. I might still
As long
have
as
them.
it's not New Jersey Falcor again. Like,
It's not NJ Falcor, I promise. But I just want to I imagine he's like a gooey, gummy substance, and I just want to like squish him and stretch him.
Yeah, it's so true. I want to pop him in my mouth for safekeeping. And if I do that, I die.
You will die. These guys eat a Portuguese man of war. Like they eat Portuguese man of wars. They're
so fucking cool.
It does look like it would have the satisfying texture of like a perfectly cooked shrimp.
Yeah. Yes. It does. They're so beautiful and they're so deadly. And I feel like almost every time I've seen a picture of one, it is a picture of one in somebody's hand. And then I just see everybody's reactions being like, oh, they're dead.
Yep.
Yeah, how do you post that picture? Somebody else must have posted it for him because he's real dead.
They're gone. I'm looking at one right now and it's huge and it's in this person's hand. It is definitely not a little baby 2 weeks old. Yeah. No, I don't think that you should hold these. But at the same time, if I saw one of these, there are worse ways to go, I think.
500 patron special. We go find one in the wild.
We'll find one and finally put me out of my misery.
Wait, all three of us get into, I don't know, the Australian waters or wherever this thing runs. And you just open your mouth and we see who it swims into first.
H-Taff Death Cult. H-Taff Death Cult. Oh my God. Well, if you want to join our death cult, you can go to patreon.com/HugHousePods. You can watch Giancarlo play Dragon Age 2 or Inquisition or whatever he's playing at twitch.tv/Whimsic Productions. Subscribe so that you will get alerts.
Will?
What?
Will, I recorded credits so we don't have to do this anymore.
Holy shit. That rules. Well.
That's
did you
crazy.
Forget you came up with the idea?
I did. Oh my God. I've made decisions.
Brilliance just comes to Will so easily that it doesn't matter. You know?
I just looked back over at our Discord and saw the glowing rock-ass rock. And also the rock on lyrium. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, God.
Well, until next time... don't do lyrium, kids. Stay in school.
but if you want to.
But if I want to, Will.
But if you want to, it's okay. Just do it at home.
Just do it at home. I'd rather you do it with me than, you know.
Where Fenris is, where I keep Fenris.
Yeah.
How to Act for Eldon is a Hug House production made in collaboration with Whimsic Productions. It's co-hosted by Anne Baird, Will Williams, and Giancarlo Herrera, with audio production and sound design by Will Williams. You can find links to the news we talked about in this episode and the dragon we aged in the show notes, or on our website at hughouse.productions. If you'd like to follow us online, we're on Tumblr at Act for Eldon. Nowhere else, though, because social media is a nightmare. You can also follow along with Giancarlo's playthrough of the games at twitch.tv/Whimsic Productions. Make sure you subscribe or follow him there to get updates when he goes live. If you have any questions, topic requests, or dragons for us to age, you can email us at actforeldon@hughouse.productions or send us a message on Tumblr. To get access to early audio, extended episodes, and more bonus content for this and our other shows, you can always support us on Patreon at patreon.com/HugHousePods. How to Act for Eldon is a Hug House production made in collaboration with Whimsic Productions. It's co-hosted by Anne Baird, Will Williams, and Giancarlo Herrera, with audio production and sound design by Will Williams. You can find links to the news we talked about in this episode and the dragon we aged in the show notes, or on our website at hughouse.productions. If you'd like to follow us online, we're on Tumblr at Act for Eldon. Nowhere else, though, because social media is a nightmare. You can also follow along with Giancarlo's playthrough of the games at twitch.tv/Whimsic Productions. Make sure you subscribe or follow him there to get updates when he goes live. If you have any questions, topic requests, or dragons for us to age, you can email us at actforeldon@hughouse.productions or send us a message on Tumblr. To get access to early audio, extended episodes, and more bonus content for this and our other shows, You can always support us on Patreon at patreon.com/hughhousepods.